Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
Buen día, Jaime. Buenos días, Juanma.
Tudo bem por
Buen
aí,
día,
António?
Vasco.
Good morning.
Buen día, everybody.
Bom dia, Gata. Tá bom? Como está? Tudo bem?
Todo bien.
Buenos días a todo el mundo. Good morning, everyone.
Buenos días, Juanma. Guten Morgen, Nina.
Good morning, everyone.
Today I'm not opening Slido because it's clear that nobody wants to use it. So we will return to just use the chat in GoToMeeting. Buen día, Aurora.
Olá, bom dia. Egunon.
Egunon. Egunon is in Basque language is just buenos días. It's not good afternoon or good night, or just buenos días. Good time, good morning.
For the entire day or for only the morning?
Just for the morning.
Okay. In Portugal, we also say bom dia only for the morning. In the afternoon is boa tarde.
Boa tarde, como is like in Spanish. Buenas tardes.
Yeah. Ego is bueno? Ego is bueno?
No. Ego is another thing.
Okay, because as south is egoa, right? In Basque.
In Euskera. Sorry, I was thinking in Spanish.
No.
I don't remember so much Euskera. It's very difficult to remember.
But I see on the labels on the street on the roads, the labels always have Spanish and Basque and Euskera, right? So they have sur, egoa. And now I was thinking that maybe ego was good, so that the south is the good side because it's where the sun is.
No, because it's not ego non, it's egu non.
Okay.
You. Okay. But, yeah. Buongiorno, Ilaria, and good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, Ilaria. There is some, yeah, thank you. It's time to start. Today we will speak about funds, European level and regional level, and public procurement. We don't have special expertise to share for today, so we will have 20 minutes to speak between us and share our point of view and our knowledge, okay? And later we will go to the two classical blocks, needs and potential solutions, okay? Most of you have had the opportunity to hear Marek speaking about the new structural funds, I think on the 7th of this month, okay, something like 1 week ago. If not, you can review the video. I always put the link to the past videos or the last videos in the daily message, okay? And I would recommend you to review it later if you didn't saw it pin and had the opportunity to review. Yesterday we had a meeting of the Spanish cluster, and it was one of the main topics. We were speaking about the minimis, and there are some confusion about that information that Marek shared, telling us that the minimis has been increased to 800,000 euros. There are a lot of regional authorities and even people in the banks that doesn't know this, and the feel is totally different because most companies, most SMEs or some of the SMEs here in Spain are requesting funding. Okay, here in Spain is through ICO, we call them ICO funds, and some of them are being denying funds because they have reached the old minimum top level, 200,000 euros, and so for them it's critical to know about the new level. We are spreading this information, but I don't know, for example, if you have the same situation in other countries. Could you share about it?
So good morning, Antonio and everybody. It's Veronica. So I tell you my current experience in this field. I'm a bit struggling, like you, to inform my ecosystem about this opportunity because let's say the industry associations that I tried to inform in order to make some let's say some pressure on our region in order to move quickly, I mean, and to have clear ideas about this kind of rules. So the new de minimis, the fact that the co-funding goes up to 100% during this year and next year, and that the funds have to go not only for health costs to cover regional health costs, but also for operational capital of companies. So no one knows this. So then I talked with some politicians from the region, and some of them knows about this availability of funds, but apparently regions that had the good performance in spending structural funds won't have these funds. So this was maybe one of the most critical points about in the presentation of Marek, because this huge amount, 37 billion euros, are not really new funds. They are the funds that were unspent from the regions, by the regions, and the regions that were good in spending their structural funds have no extra money. So there is a flexibility rule inside each country that will allow our governments to make some splits from, let's say, one of other Italian regions that didn't have good performances, let's say, for instance, in the south, okay? And since those regions have not experienced, like Lombardy, but also like my region, huge problems with the coronavirus, they could be requested to give their money to our regions. So, and this also, you can understand, will create and is creating some problems, because those regions are not so happy to give away their money to other regions. So this is our state of the art. So it is not really new money, but it's a kind of little war between regions that have more or less all the same problems.
I didn't know. That's the first time that I hear that. It's very important information.
Yeah, it's a kind of a flexibility rule. So this is a part of the presentation, and maybe we can go back to Marek, maybe to ask some to gather some questions from this group, and send an email to Marek just to double check if what we are experiencing is really what he meant, because yeah, otherwise it's
that will be important, because perhaps there are different interpretations depending on. So I think that that will be quite important. Yes, could you draft
sure.
Yeah, message?
Yes, I will.
Would you take care of that?
Yes.
With all the different questions that could arise today, and we will address for sure, Marek.
Perfect. Okay.
That's very important, because that could be some kind of interpretation. There could be some funds that will follow the rule and others not, or you are totally right, and all the funds are just those that have been not spent before. It's very important to know that. Thank you.
Yes, in fact, and what you are showing now, Antonio, is about other funds. Okay, these are, let's say, not structural funds. These are national funds that that have been approved under the new state aid policy. So these funds that you were showing, at least for Italy, concern funds for guarantees. So not grants, but guarantees that that will be given to companies, no matter their dimension, because yes, there are two funds, one for SMEs and one for large companies. But this is what is shown here is about the guarantees. What Marek said was about grants. That's completely different aspect.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I have this document. I will share it in. Well, you have this document in because we shared it in the past week. This is one of the documents.
It's especially different in terms of future, because if it is not more available, it's not possible to use it in other fronts in the future.
Okay. Antonio, can I say something about this? Yes, okay, very shortly. I think there are 2 points that are very important from what we are experiencing here in Portugal, but I think also in other countries. That is the problem of the communication and of the bureaucracy. As we know, everything that is connected with European funds and grants and tenders is always very, very complicated in terms of the bureaucracy that exists. And here in Portugal, the government decided to launch a set of measures, especially in connection with the banking system, in order to give money to the companies so that they can have their existence during the next months. But most of them have lots of problems in terms of the way they should use applying for this process. So I think it should be interesting to try to have some experience and best practice from other countries so that we could get a similar approach that should be more practical and useful for companies. And we speak about SMEs. Most of them don't have enough people with knowledge and expertise to deal with these kind of things. And we are speaking about companies that have lots of problems in terms of their survival. The second question is concerning with the rules for being considered in this grants. Most of them are very complicated in terms of financial indicators, in terms of the organization of the company. And I think that also in this area, it should be interesting to have some sharing of good practice, because we are living a very, very complicated time. Most of the times the companies, because of some formal rules, don't have the possibility to apply to this kind of funds. And it should be interesting to have some more information about what's going on in other countries. Thank you.
Yeah, totally agree. We have decided yesterday in our Spanish meeting to create a working group. There is 6 persons that will start immediately to create some kind of study about what is happening, and create also a document of recommendations for our regional development agencies and so on. Will be possible to do something similar at the European level. Okay, I don't know, but it's important, very important. More. No more interventions. There is not expertise between us for funding. Could be, but we should look for experts and try to really understand what is happening.
What I can add, I wrote it right yesterday. At European level, they are talking about the possibility to extend the current programming period of structural funds. So it was 2014 and 2020, and to extend it for for 2 more years. This could avoid the problems of blocking of funds because the negotiations at European levels are not going very well. Of course, the current situation is not helping. So this could be an opportunity to continue to provide grants on our territories. On the other hand, the problem would be that the current rules that are used, and I don't know your your experience, but here the rules for applying regional funds from EU are very bureaucratic. And as far as I know, the new rules for the new period, 2021-2027, will be much more easy. And so there is the current discussions also for this, in order to avoid any block in funds, not only COVID related, but also for the other activities. And for our companies, this could be very important.
Could we try to look for one or some experts in our site by country, something like that? I try to put them together just to create that guide of best practice by country. Does it make sense for you to try to have somebody looking for how this is being applied by country and create some kind of guide? Good practice and not so good practice?
Antonio, I think it's, yes.
Veronica.
Just to understand, you mean for this special, yes, you were showing the document CRII, so this new instrument, this. You are talking about this.
Or whatever we think is important on funding. But I think that
because you know. Okay. Okay. For every kind of funding. Okay. Yes. So we can try.
Just to understand, because we can as Marek, but what we need is also a kind of references across Europe, and so we could use these references in our countries. Because if there are other possibilities, it's totally different if we go to our governments saying, okay, I know that has been published, but please review it, and it's totally different than if we go with this document saying, okay, I'm showing you what are doing other countries, and this is possible, and you can contact them and review. I think it's totally different. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah.
We could try to locate some experts in our country, or somebody that understands this kind of schemes, and ask for help.
Yeah. Also, Antonio, maybe it's my fault, but have you? I mean, you remember for sure what Ulla Engelman said at some point, that they were expected to provide 500 million euros through clusters to help companies. Have you news about this? Because
I think that I think that I know that they are working on it. Ulla has told me that 2 days ago, something like that. And I think I don't know for sure that they want to include it in the publication that they will make this week. It's expected to be released this week, of the one exit strategy. Okay. So what I didn't tell you until now is that the ULA's director, I don't remember the name, Slovak, it could be the name. ULA's director will participate in the meeting that we will have next Monday. It's expected to have, we expect him next Monday, and he will share with us the main ideas of this exit strategy. Okay. So I suppose, but it's just one supposition, that this strategy could have information about this funding. I'm not totally sure, but I know that Ulla told me that they are working on it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm looking for the name of this person, but okay.
And still regarding the guidelines, how to apply to European funds, we can create handbook with a framework on how to apply to European funds, and putting also some use cases, some examples, practical examples how to do it from different countries. I think that will help a lot and will guide us to apply to funds. And maybe we can create one team from different countries to collect some use cases. And the most experienced could explain also a framework, and we put this on a handbook, and then we can disseminate from to different countries.
Yeah, that will be really helpful.
Yeah.
But we need your involvement. We need for you in every country to look for somebody or 2-3 persons that could help on that.
Okay. From
Hi,
Portugal,
good morning. It's Anais, good morning. I will try also to ask, because we have the webinar on Thursday, I will ask if anybody has more feedback on those funds and on the use, because that's what, if I understand most of you say, it's that it's not really either new or working so well. So I'm gonna ask around and let's see if we can gather some info maybe for next week to have concrete practices and sorry, everybody getting up now. So yeah, I can try to do that on Thursday and have some feedback.
Tomorrow, you mean?
Yes, tomorrow is Thursday.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
sorry,
Okay, yeah.
I don't know what day it is anymore.
Yeah, but yeah, totally agree. Even I could send an email to or include in the email daily email a request for this kind of references. Okay, but yeah, totally agree. The name of the director is Slavek Tokarski. Okay.
Okay.
He will be with us in this same session next Monday.
Okay. So do you want us to have some feedback by next Monday, or do we start a small discussion group on the regional funds in another moment, just so I know?
I will start immediately, because as soon as we start, we will have more information and we can make suggestions.
Okay.
So I will start immediately, and I will ask Marek about some clarification also. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And does anybody have, because I'm not familiar so much with the ERDF, for example, I work a lot more with the research funds, so H2020 and all of these funds that I know very well. So they're moving also, if we have some interesting stories in terms of research, is there any interest? Because of the COVID funds and the new funds that they've put available, they are, especially, well, in the life science, I guess, there are a lot of initiatives and trials and things that have been funded. Some, maybe it's not really, I don't know if it's interesting to that group or not, because some clusters do participate in the research, helping out to reach out to companies and so on, but.
We are having quite new postings about funding opportunities and on the ACCP forum. I would recommend you to use it. Okay, it could be even be a resource, a source for information for this group working on funding. Okay, so I would propose you to share your experiences there. Okay. And perhaps we could also not only share the experience but ask and dialogue about them. Okay. Because there are a lot of different options now open on funding and general funding for research. As you know, there are a lot of possibilities.
Anais, it's Veronica. Just to complement, to tell more about ERDF as funds. For instance, in normal periods in our region, in Tuscany, also we have a life science cluster here, so they are very good in using ERDF. ERDF is used by our region also to for R&D projects. So, for instance, now there is one call for proposals open. It was open, I mean, no direct relation with COVID, but of course, people that want to apply with ideas, COVID related, of course, can apply. Of course, there is the problem of the boundaries, since these are regional funds. Only companies having seat in our region can apply. But just to say that at regional level, every region has the opportunity to use ERDF in normal times to promote R&D projects on its territory. On the other hand, in this special period, if I'm not wrong, Marek said that our region must not link the expenditure of these funds for, let's say, research, but just for operational capital once again and health costs.
Anais, I just checked on the platform. We have a new post on the European Research Area, established a Corona platform.
Okay.
So if you can have a look in funding opportunities.
Yeah.
Yes, Antonio's showing, I think. And there is the third post, new European Research Area, established Corona platform. Maybe you can have a look there.
Yeah. What I can do, obviously not for tomorrow though, but I can try to have a look if you want me to coordinate somehow, you know, like funding opportunities, but and we could have a session on that, but really with the different funds, instruments, and so on, and good practices, if any, at the moment. I don't know if that's of any interest, because I think the funding is, yeah.
It's a total interest.
Okay. So I can try to put up maybe a presentation on that for the next, I don't know, maybe a few days I need, but I will ask because.
But that doesn't work alone. Work with a team.
No, for sure. So I will, maybe Veronica, I will ask you a few questions because I know the ERDFs, but I also know that, I think you did mention that before, they're so bureaucratic that even sometimes they're not even used. So I will have a look and maybe I will ask a few of you specific questions on country case. And
Yeah,
then we can.
I would propose, Anais, I would propose to make a kind of request for every country, a form or whatever you prefer, just to retrieve this kind of best practice.
Perfect.
Okay, we can deliver that request to the national networks and wait for feedback, because I'm totally sure that it will be helpful for everyone.
Yeah.
We are able to.
How to navigate through the funds. That could be the title of the presentation. Okay, I'll do that. I'll work on that.
Please make a draft of the request.
Yeah.
Send it to me, and I will deliver it to everyone.
Great. Okay.
It's very important because we are loose. At least I don't feel that we have a real comprehension of what is happening, or what are the opportunities.
No, and I think maybe in this group, it would be also nice let's say the wish list maybe, but the type of things that are important, because so ERDFs are one way, research fund are another way, then there will be some little fund and cascade funding through some of the events, for example, the hackathon. Then I mean, there are so many sources that it's difficult to know what's the best one to apply to and not to lose time. But at the same time, to also help in terms of what kind of requests. I think, especially this group, what comes to me is that cross-sector collaboration is super important. And it's been in some of the funds and in the InnoSoup, for example, and sometimes it didn't make much sense to push, but now it does. So it just also, I guess, to give feedback to the commission or the funding bodies on our side to say, look, I think this should work well or this doesn't. So, okay.
Perfect.
So if there are any specific recommendation also, I can leave my email here. And if you have specific cases, you can just send it to me.
Please.
Antonio, it is possible to speak also a little bit about public procurement, or do you prefer to speak later?
Yes, we can speak about public procurement.
Well, I'd like to take some notes because I have some experience during the last years. I think this is a good opportunity to try to get a new framework for public procurement, because what we know from the European experience, from the OECD experience, and also from most of our countries, is that most of the framework agreements that are the basis where the governments and the municipalities usually launch the tenders are not very positive for small and medium companies. Most of this is because of questions of competition, because you cannot, in a framework agreement, impose that SMEs should be favorized in terms of the involvement. But I think that with this crisis that we are experiencing now, it should be an opportunity to try to have some new methods. First of all, the question of the participation of the small and medium companies, because what we assist in most of the tenders in our countries and in our municipalities is that because of the price, because of the capacity of supplying and other things, usually the big corporations and the big companies are always the best solutions for these tenders. The second question is concerned with the innovative solutions. We speak a long time ago about the innovative procurement. Try to settle in these tenders and in these framework agreements are the rules that not only the price and the financial situation of the supplier and things like that. And I think this should be a very good opportunity to try to incorporate into the framework agreements and in the tenders other kind of solutions like the degree of innovation of the proposed solution, the kind of quality that it has in terms of the market and things like that. I think this is very, very important because most of the SMEs, at least here in Portugal, but I think also in other countries, depend a lot on the public market, either in the national governments or in the regional ones, and this should be a very good opportunity to do that. Public procurement is very, very important in terms of giving the SMEs the opportunity to be more positive in the market. In TCI and in the technology area, this is most important because, as we know, we have lots of startups and the small and medium companies that most of the times have very good solutions, very innovative solutions in terms of service and goods. But because of the price, because of not having the solutions in terms of the financial indicators, they are not capable to participate in these tenders. And usually are always the same multinationals, directly or indirectly with some networks that apply for that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Jaime. Comments?
Good night, Antonio.
For sure.
Thank
Go
you.
on, Elena. Bon
Thank
dia.
you. Bon dia. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Public procurement is a very important task within Europe, as we know, and that can be very important for the SMEs in the current framework. In Portugal, we have the Enterprise Europe Network, that is an initiative, as you know, from the European Commission, and IAPMA is the coordinator of this Enterprise Europe Network in Portugal, and we have, in our last meeting of the consortium, fostered to improve the participation of SMEs in the public procurement. Within this, we are developing webinars, seminars via online, because in IAPMA we have an expert in public procurement in order to skill more the companies to participate, namely SMEs, in the public procurement, and also helping them how to reach partners or to submit the proposal. So I think this is also important to foster to the SMEs how to participate. Of course, we are also disseminating the calls in this frame in order that they can be aware how important it is to participate in this kind of business. Thank you.
Yeah, very, very welcome. Thank you, Elena. So you are an expert on that. We need you. When you say public procurement, do you mean innovative public procurement, or are those two different concepts?
It depends. Not only innovative public procurement, but this kind of public procurement that is published and that we can, I mean, in a way, we think that is with potential for some targets of SMEs here in Portugal. So it depends. Not only innovative public procurement, but of course, this is very important, innovative public procurement.
Thank you, Elena. Comments, questions, suggestions, needs, solutions?
Shall we also speak about specific procurement for the projects that are going on only to fight COVID and may be different in the future again?
We could speak about that, yeah.
Okay, so as the group is growing, this group is growing, and some people didn't hear the previous the previous sessions. Maybe they don't know, but for instance, in Spain, there is around 40 projects for ventilators. In Portugal, I still don't know, but at least 10. All of the projects are arriving to a conclusion, I think. And procurement is key. The large companies that produce ventilators, fortunately, for health of the planet, are at least doubling production. Some of them are making a higher rate of production than only doubling. So if the small projects, the new projects, the open source projects compete on the same type of procurement of the large companies, they will never get the parts to produce, because the suppliers, of course, will prefer to supply larger quantities for those that will go on buying in the future, and not to give priority to small quantities of new entrants that will never go on, or they don't see that, and even the producers do not see that. So we have to look for different sources, which may mean for different materials. I think that the entities in each country that know about markets and know about materials should help those projects on the procurement.
The problem is that they are totally overwhelmed also, no?
I don't know. This is a need. And sorry, I jumped to needs.
Yes. Clear, Here in Spain, it was another topic yesterday in our meeting. There has been many clusters that are grouping the needs for procurement from their members and make global orders to China, for example. Okay, and one of the problems that they have is that sometimes the goods are confiscated by the state. Okay, so we decided to yesterday just to try to coordinate at a national level. There is one Ramon. Ramon is not here today, I think. No. Ramon from the cluster CITET, that is a specialist in logistics, will try to coordinate and facilitate the process of delivering or receiving the goods ordered to China in the different regions. But we are having big problems with that because there are some priorities and they are not so clear, and sometimes those goods don't arrive to the right hands, and so the companies are not having the needed materials, protective equipments, just to return to the work. So that's another reality that I wanted to share with you.
One question, Antonio, on that, because I think that's one of the things that Bertrand Vert commented. I think it was already 2 weeks ago about the fight over material in China. Is this logistic cluster is coordinated with other European clusters? I'm just saying because one of the key things that obviously when the Americans came in, it made issues about who's getting the material and the flights where they would be somehow deviated. But that happened also within Europe. So apparently some French taking some flights over from that were going to, I don't remember where. Is there some kind of coordination there, or it's also something I think that's important that is scaled up, you know, to show that if there's some coordination, it works better than if everyone goes, you know, on their own, and because there's a lot of fight over material, and there will be more because this
That's
is
the
a
question.
long-lasting.
Yeah, that's the question. I don't know. We know that we decided yesterday to try to coordinate at Spanish level.
Okay.
This is a question for this group. Will it make sense to try to coordinate at the European level?
It's very political, I think. That's the issue, obviously, because every country wants to go back to their citizens saying they won the plane. But I think it would make, at the end, it would be better. All the experts say it would be better if it would act as one and not as 27. But politically, I don't know if it's feasible if they don't get along. But we can ask. It would be nice to ask also.
Yeah. And from China, I think that even more than only to coordinate purchases and flights, we should use some structure, some European structure like those that are traders or something in China, so that they guarantee that the purchases made get on board. Because at least in Portugal, there were some cases of things that were purchased, flights that were there to get the things and came without the things. So it is compulsory to have the things that were purchased and paid to get on board.
Yeah. For example,
sorry, Antonio, everybody.
Just
to complement a little bit, the Chinese ambassador in Portugal they advise the companies to verify if when they are buying something in China, if the company is somehow, I don't know the exact wording, is registered or known by the Chinese, let's say, state, because otherwise it will be very difficult to follow and to be sure that the things that are bought will be brought to the different countries. So is an advice that he gave after this event, like Aurora mentioned. So I think that is also important to verify the credibility of the companies in China.
Well, and I heard yesterday of an Interpol catch, let's say, of a European group, not a Chinese group, a European group that was pretending to be a Chinese supplier, and they were collecting and did not even exist. So everything has to be taken care. That's why I think a trader representative of the clusters, of European clusters or something, present in China, which is the major supplier, of course, is needed.
I have received some offers to. We could study that. We could study that. But I will need some really good expert. I will speak with Ramon Garcia, who is from the cluster CITED, and we could explore that, and we could propose you some. Yeah, why not? Yes, very interesting idea. I was going to share with you the what has been made in the Basque Country. It has been the own government, the regional government, who has make the orders. They have grouped the orders from the different clusters, and it has been the government who has ordered the goods. And that way, it seems that they have some kind of special priority from the government's orders. That would be also a possibility.
Even those are lacking to get on the plane, at least in the Portuguese Portuguese. And prices get more than double after being paid and things like that. That's why I think a trader is useful. My small company in China only buys through a trader. We pay a small percentage, but we get the service.
Okay. Very interesting idea. And if we are able to do that, it could be very useful also.
I will, if you don't mind, I will ask Bertrand, because I know he's been in public procurement for many years, and since 2 weeks ago, I will ask him if there's any, I don't know, updates or if there's any specific discussions going on. Obviously, he's really into public procurement of innovation, but in any case, he's related to public procurement. So I will ask if there's any updates. Maybe we could do some session on it, because this is a very important issue, obviously.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So we have two very, very interesting outcomes for this session today. One will be the group R funding schemes and best practice on that, and the second one will be I don't know, the group. You could create a group if you want. About the possibility to join efforts on, or in order to assure as much as possible the coming of the goods. Very, very good.
I would like to add something about how we could make the purchases from China. We have the Portuguese ambassador in China, and I also know him very well, and is very receptive person, and maybe you could bridge to the Chinese market because he knows very well the market, and maybe we should in Portugal at least make all the purchases through him, because if we do in that way, we could have some guarantees because he have also connections to the Chinese government, and he could always make some pressure for delivered goods.
Wonderful. Wonderful, without any doubt. Thank you. More on funds and public support, public purchase, sorry. No more suggestions? So we have some clear needs. We need coordination on information on what is happening with the what are the possibilities with the funding schemes, the new funding opportunities. For that, one solution is to ask Marek, and Veronica, you will draft a message that we will deliver to him. Okay.
Yep.
If somebody, we can share the draft in the Slack. Whoever is not invited to Slack, please tell us, and we can deliver the invitation. We have a, you know that we are using the ACCP COVID forum for all the public changes, but we have an Slack channel or channels for the internal work. Okay, so we could share the draft of this request in Slack and improve it between whoever wants to make some proposal to improve it. Okay, and we will deliver it to Marek. I will propose Marek to make another session next week, soon next week, about this, because it's clear that it's important. Okay, and at the same time, Anais will draft a request of best practice that we will deliver to everyone in Europe, in order to we can for sure also review the funding opportunities in the forum for sure. Okay, but it will be good to have references from the different cluster or other actors, and so we will be able to, with a nice help to create this kind of first guide on who is happening and what kind of recommendation we could do. That's for funding, and that will be solutions. Okay, and speaking about needs on procurement, there was a very interesting proposal from Jaime to try to review the schemes on public procurement. I think that that will be medium term. In the short term, our need is to help our companies to receive the materials that they are requesting, the goods that they need from China or other countries. There has been open, I think that a very interesting possibility that will be to try to coordinate our actions through Europe, or at least to share possible resources, as for example, Nuno has just shared with us the possibility to be helped by experts on the field on China. Okay, so I think that those will be the outcomes of today. I don't know if you have any other comment. Ilaria is making the notes. Ilaria, do you think that we have another needs or comment from or solution from other day that could be added to today's discussion?
Well, Antonio, I was looking on the report of the previous session when there was Marek, and we wrote that it would be very useful to, with the help of EULA, to receive as managing authorities a clear information from the EU level. I don't know if you remember.
No, I don't remember. What do you mean EU level? About which level will be that?
Because of this unclear information at regional level concerning the managing authorities of the RDF. We were talking about being as actors in driving, I mean, pushing also managing authorities in developing calls using ERDF, and somehow these managing authorities are not so well informed. And there was a proposal, I think, from you to ULA to ask for a clear information from European level to, I mean, well, also from that side, help and push regional authorities to be active and proactive in this moment.
Yeah, I think so. So we could invite, but I am trying to identify who should be those regional authorities to try to invite them to our next session.
The fact, if I may add something, is that ULA is DG Grow, that is different from DG Regio, that is the Direction General that is managing the structural funds. So in case, of course, the person is Marek and maybe the homologue of ULA for
Ouais.
And
Attends, est-ce qu'ils y sont arrivés? Parce qu'en fait, nous, la France, on passe pas forcément tout au début. Non, mais c'est bon. Il va...
Sorry, Alexia.
Hello?
Thank you. No, it was a mistake, I suppose.
Yeah, and so this is the first point. The second, if I'm not wrong, Marek said that when someone of us asked, but do you think our regions are aware about this? Marek said, of course they are, because we have, of course, informed them internally. Each of our region has a managing authority for ERDF and ESF, so meaning the structural funds. So that person, that very person, and you can find the list of our managing authorities on the EU website. I can have a look at this website and share the link with you. So in case you want to have a very fresh information, you can contact that person. But of course, there is a daily continuous connection between DG Regio and the managing authorities. So this is for sure. Other aspect was, as someone between us suggested, why don't you, DG Region, share a template call for all our regions so they don't get lost in creating red tape that is not definitely unnecessary in this moment, and to guarantee a consistent expenditure of these funds. Maybe we can ask if they are moving, I mean, ask Marek and DG Region if they are following this kind of action or not. As long as I know, For Italy, the coordination is made at national level, because also our national governments receive structural funds, okay? And so the national government is coordinating the needs. I mean, like us, on one side, the availabilities, so what has not been spent from Italian regions, calculate the amount, so what amount is available for all Italy, and then decide to what regional territory give that amount to be spent. So it seems there are different level of coordination, and that there is an intermediate level, the national one, and although there is a direct communication between European Commission and the regions.
The list that you were speaking about at the beginning, it's interesting. Could you share it with us?
Yes, sure.
Perhaps in Slack, perhaps, or something like that, or in the forum. It will be perfect in the forum also, because that way everybody will be able to reach it. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anything else? If not, we will close. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Tomorrow we have a special session, not just 60 but 90 minutes, because we have very good expertise with us, as always. But we will give them the main speaker 10 minutes each. We have Rafaela today with us. Thank you, Rafaela, for coming. And so we wanted to give them enough space, time to share, because everyone will have very interesting references to share. But until tomorrow, we have a lot of things to do. So,
and the thematic for tomorrow is
social economy.
Okay, thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Same to you.
See you all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.